Today I'm going to talk about losing my job in my late 30s and what I'm going to do next from here. Now, to be perfectly clear, I did not get fired from my job. Okay, what happened was that in about September last year, I told my supervisor that I was not feeling very inclined to continue in my role and I asked for a role change. But through a few months of negotiation and trying to find out where I can fit in the company, we decided that actually I was better off being self employed. Yeah, and my last day is actually end of February, and after that, I'll be unemployed. Now, as some of you know, okay, I work at this company called Provident, and if you want to know the reasons why I left, maybe drop a comment. Then, if enough people comment that, I might just do a new video based on that. But today is just all about what I'm going to do next. Anyway, subscribe to my Telegram for updates because it really helps me out, and of course, every comment and like on this video is greatly appreciated as well. So this is me. I just turned 37, and I will just lay out some options I have for the rest of my working life, or at least the next couple of years. But the most obvious thing I can think of doing is to find another full-time job. Now, having a jobby job has a few pros that I'm attracted to, namely one, having a fixed income, right? So having a fixed income, of course, is very useful because it's predictable. You know exactly how much you're going to get every month, and it's easier to do planning when you know what kind of income you can expect. And as someone who has a freelance online business like satisfy.com, okay, that actually gives pretty unstable income, I would say. So having a base that I know it's very certain, very predictable, actually helps me plan out my finances better. And of course, it's a very nice safety net if my online pursuits or my other freelance things don't work out that well. Yeah, so number one, of course, is having a good and stable fixed pay. Number two would be actually a social aspect. Now, I've been self-employed most of my life since 2009 till now, more than 15 years. And I spent only about 2.5 years being an employee with colleagues. But I found that having colleagues is actually something that's quite nice to have. So you can do things like, of course, work together, have things to rant about work together. And yeah, I recently came back from a company retreat and it was just it's just a social aspect that as a self-employed freelancer, right, it's not something that you can get at most freelance options that I have. So I do think that I will miss this social aspect part of things, which I hope another full-time job will replace. And of course, third, there's this thing called Parkinson's law, which I really feel like I subscribe to, which is that the amount of time you have is the amount of time that your work will take. So for example, if you have 20 hours to do a project, you will somehow squeeze everything into that 20 hours. But when you suddenly have 30 hours, your project will expand and fill up those 30 hours. And as someone who's quite a procrastinator and pretty lazy person, I do feel like Parkinson's law apply a lot to me, right? When I was running 3 jobs at once, I actually somehow had time to do my full-time job, to teach tuition, and then to do 2 videos a week. But now that I actually scaled back my tuition, in fact, I'm not teaching tuition anymore, and I just have a full-time job, I realized that my output is actually much lower. If you look at my upload history, right, I've gone from 2 videos a week to once a week, and some weeks I don't even upload at all. And I just feel like it's just me getting lazy, right? So instead of teaching on every Saturday, I now spend my Saturdays doing things like lazing around, watching YouTube, etc. Yeah, maybe it's a bit of a burnt out, but so not so sure. But I still feel like Parkinson's law is something that I'm quite aware of, and having a job will make me more disciplined in my timetable. Now, the major con of having a full-time job will of course be the time commitment, right? It's at least a 40 to 50 hour work week. And yeah, that takes away from a lot of other things that you could be pursuing. So I am quite what's the word to use, hesitant to take another full-time job because of that. And also, I don't have a degree, so I don't think that the quality of the full-time job I can get will ever be as good as the one I left at Provident. And yeah, so I think full-time job may not be something that's very high on my list, despite it having multiple pros that I am quite fond of. Yeah, so that is probably something I have on the card. So if you have a good jobby job to offer me, right, hit me up in my email and we'll see where it goes from there. In fact, I got my Provident job because of my video. So who knows where this can lead me to. Now, since I have no degree, right, that actually brings me to the second thing I can do, which is go and study and actually finally get my degree so that I can, expand my career options, or at least a diploma, right? Maybe out of interest, right? So I think that is also something I'm looking at, although I have no idea what to study at this time of my life, right? I'm in my late 30s, but thankfully I think I'm in quite a good position to actually study and not have to worry about income so much because I still have this income source. And speaking of which, right, check out this sponsored ad read. Yeah, counting on you to support me because this is my sole source of income right now. One reason I'm able to take it easier career-wise is because I can count on the returns from my savings. With my Moomoo Cash Plus, I can get relatively low risk returns. Also, I've been investing in these ETFs with Moomoo since 2022, and here are my returns till December 2024. Timing the market is impossible, but investing regularly has helped build my investment portfolio over time and average out buying costs. I invest at regular intervals, buying more shares when prices are lower and fewer when they are high. Using Moomoo regular savings plan makes things convenient. I can start and stop anytime from as low as $5. Moomoo offers lifetime zero commission trading of US stocks and ETFs. Using Moomoo for regular investment is very simple. Open the Moomoo app, go to the RSP section, choose the stock or ETF you want to invest, set your investment amount and frequency, and then click confirm to start. You can adjust your plan anytime. Moomoo SG is giving away a new user promotion that's up to $2,266, which includes up to one Tesla share. You'll be able to get an additional $20 if you sign up with my link. So don't miss the chance. Click on the link in my description box to find out more. Now, I know that the government actually rolled out something pretty new where they will actually give people an allowance to go and study, right? To actually do a mid-career stop and study something. But I think that only applies to people 40 and up. So I'm a little away from that. I'm 37, so maybe I should have resigned 3 years later. But anyway, I think studying doesn't really need to be just academic stuff, right? There are a lot of things that I want to learn, and one of which is driving. Yeah, I'm in my late 30s. I have never taken my license before. I finished my final theory test, and that's about it. I let my provisional driving license expire, I think, about 15 years ago. Yeah, so I think this year, if I'm more free, okay, I will go and learn driving. At least that's a life skill that I can have, even though cars are expensive as hell in Singapore. But yeah, next time I go to Bali or New Zealand, somewhere like that, I can actually rent a bike, rent a car. And yeah, I think it'd be more, it'll come in useful one day lah. Now, the third option I have would be to FIRE, which is to retire early. Now, I have been chasing FIRE for a few years now, and I would say that based on my calculation, I think I am actually almost there because I don't spend a lot. And over the years, my income has, fortunately increased, and I managed to put aside quite a sizable nest egg now that if I look at my expenses versus the nest egg that I've accumulated, it's actually quite possible to do FIRE or at least lean FIRE, right? So lean FIRE, if you're not very familiar with the term, is where you cut expenses really to a very low amount, and then you don't have to work for the rest of your life because your expenses are so low. And I think if I just continue to be relatively frugal and not go on so many overseas trips, right, I think I can actually reach that. Or there's actually this thing called barista fire or coast fire where you take a job but not necessarily for your survival but just to defray some of your expenses. So you don't have to take a traditional full-time job that's quite stressful. Instead, I can consider doing things like, as the name suggests, being a barista. I recently have been very into cocktails, so I might be a bartender. Or, work at Apple Store. And I actually once told someone that if you ever see me working at Apple Store, right, you can actually shake my hand and congratulate me because that actually means that I've reached my goal of taking life easy, dropping off the rat race, and just making money for fun rather than having to survive on the employment income. Yeah, so that is a very possible way I would move, at least in 2025. Okay, in the immediate few months after my resignation, I think I will just take up a few odd jobs just for fun, just out of interest, and see how it feels like doing things like Grab food delivery or yeah, like I mentioned, working at Apple Store. So if you see me at Apple Store, yeah, I guess you can shake my hand, congratulate me if you don't find that too weird. And of course, I think the most obvious option I have, which I've saved for the last, is to focus on being a full-time content creator. Now, I am very, very lucky to have this platform. And I remember how, when I reached my first 1,000 subscribers on Telegram and my first 1,000 on YouTube, I was so happy. And now it's just, incredible how I have almost 25,000 on Telegram and, almost 14,000 on YouTube. So I thank every single one of you who have subscribed and continue to watch and read my content, because that's actually what makes it possible for me to pursue other things rather than just being in a jobby job, right? Which has its pros and cons. Yeah, so I will work harder, I think, as a full-time content creator to deliver better content and more updates. So subscribe to my Telegram if you want those kind of updates. Now, I can't complain, but in the past 2.5 years when I had this full-time job, my platforms have really grown in size, and I realized that I just cannot keep up with the responsibilities of my full-time job as well as my online content creation. And therefore, I think, given the choice between these two, there's only one logical option, which is to continue with my online content creation. And I don't know where this will lead me, okay, but I think I'm lucky to have a place to yap, even though I'm not very good at yapping. And yeah, so I think I better end this video before I become too incoherent. So yeah, so sorry that this isn't a very useful video, but you have reached the end, so you can't take back your time now. Yeah, so if you want to, follow my journey and have more updates on how to earn more from a credit card, savings account, etc., join my Telegram group for updates. And also this video where I talk about my full-time job when I first got it. So we'll do a compare of then and now and see what has changed all these years. Yeah. Okay. See you in that video. Okay, so I have no time to take a thumbnail outside my office, so I think I will just Photoshop myself looking very sad, carrying this box. So first I gotta clip up my face. Yeah, I think try not to cut out my chin. And I think I accidentally cut out my ears. But oh well, I guess I can't be a graphic designer.